Seriously unserious with T Meek, D Board, D Jones, standing on whatever we feet on. We just getting started to feast on. The table is set, the mics is checked, there's topics to speak on. Seriously unserious with T Meek, D Board, D Jones, standing.
I know. 27th of June. I was gonna say, man, a couple of days. Man, missed a couple of days, bro.
Do y'all remember dates well?
Day 12?
Like when somebody's like, hey, what's today's date?
No, I don't think so. Day 12. Dates of like anniversaries, birthdays, things like that I'll remember, but someone just randomly said that's what the day is. I'm just like,
That's what when we have to do like our concussion test for like our rugby stuff, we had to do that. She was like, "What's today's date?" It was Juneteenth. And before that going in, I was talking to her, I was like, "It's Juneteenth, y'all, blah blah. We ain't laying on the rock landed on us." And so we was doing that, and then she was like, "All right, now what's today's date?" You ever get that? I was like, and my friend was like, "Boy, you just been talking about this all day." I feel like I always like whatever the closest holiday or important date that I have coming up next, I just kind of base it off of that, and I'm like, all right, so July 4th, next to this, I start counting back. It's like, yeah. But we want to welcome everybody back. Seriously on Serious Podcast. We have another guest in the building, special guest, Coop in the building.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, sir.
For sure. Thank you for having me on.
How are you? Short for something?
Is what short for something?
Coop?
Cooper.
Okay.
Yeah, my last name's Cooper. Yeah, a lot of times people just think Coop's my first name, and I'm like,
What's your first name?
I just learned
Gary.
something.
Oh.
Yeah. Nobody ever calls me Gary besides like my wife, and then people who know me from like the workplace or like school from like way back. But ever since like high school or so, I've been called Coop. So that's just one thing. And then like a lot of people meet me, and when they realize like that's not my first name, I'm like, yeah, it's short for Cooper. I'm like, I thought that there was like just a naturally known thing to like Coop for Cooper, but like nobody ever knows that. So I'm just like, all right, man. But yeah. But I've been good though, man. I can't complain. Had a late night at the Merriweather ABX set with Dom, and
Fire.
that went up. Then getting back up to it this morning. Off 5 Modelos, but we here.
Late nights, early mornings.
Yeah.
Well, I was at work, but Devin, Taryn, you guys went to the show. Yeah, it was nice. It was good. It's always different too. Do y'all cause y'all do the Merriweather a lot. Mm-hmm. Do you have like a thing with them, or how does that work with the setup?
No, it's just an easy place to book, and it's a cool place to book. Like it's small, intimate, like a real local feel and all that. And usually the crowd that comes there is just open and hearing any type of music, so we can just play like whatever we want there, rather than some places you have more specific crowd where it's like you got to play X amount of music. And that's it. The Merriweather's always way more open. People have a good time there. They're out at the patio, then they come back in to dance for a little bit. So like it's always really laid back and cool. I think we started going there like a year and a half ago. Another DJ, Aaron Chadwell, had hit us up about going there. And we did like a party called Never Too Much with him. Those were going up so much, and we were like, yeah, we need to be back in here.
Because they don't even when we talk to a couple other people, always tell about like certain spots where like you have to play this music, and they don't, since they just kind of let you like, oh, you just do what you want kind of thing. So that's nice.
Yeah, I definitely like the vibe that y'all were curating.
Yeah, appreciate that.
It felt like some because I was telling Taryn this. I was like, I wish when we were growing up or like when we were younger, we would go to places like this where you could just kind of the music's nice, but you don't feel a need to like be in the crowd or something like that. You can literally, like, we were sitting at a table, they were playing chess, like I'm just sitting there singing to the music, like I'm like had a drink or two, I'm just chilling, I'm vibing. So I was like, this is nice.
That's what we always wanted to do. Me and Dom Haley, when we started ABX, it we wanted to be able to play music for people to just kind of be themselves. All kind of people can come dance to the music. It doesn't have to be like any one way.
Right.
And when we do these parties at the Merriweather, it's always like that. It's literally like just getting together with your homies or your family or something like that. Like I said, people playing chess and stuff. You know, some people are just like literally they're kicking out. I think one day there was like someone with a big ass dog just walking through, and it was just like, all right, cool, man. Like, bad. Like, that's just what we on. But yeah, thank you for saying that, man, because we always try to make our parties like feel comfortable like that, where everybody doesn't feel like they have to be, you know, like looking a certain way or.
Yeah, it's definitely a different mix too.
Yeah, definitely very diverse. That's what one of the bartenders had mentioned to us last night. She was like, usually up there it's just like white and queer, and that's it. But she was like, when we come, like it's just a mix of everybody in there. So yeah, we really push for that.
I don't know if it's just that our generation is getting older and we're like, because I feel like when we were going out earlier, we were younger. It's like you said, we're going to Sully's or we're going to whatever, and like it's just like turn up, drink the whole time, get fucked up. You're in the middle.
$1 Wednesday.
Only time you're taking a break is when you're grabbing another drink.
Exactly.
But like as I get older, like I've talked to Devin about this a bunch. Like I hated the idea of going out because I'm not trying to be in the middle of the dance of like just a mosh pit of just people all the time. Like I hate to sound like an old guy. I'm only 27, but it's like I want to go out and like that's supposed to be a relaxing time.
Exactly.
Like, I just kind of want to chill out, hang out, and I think that's dope that you guys kind of have like a good balance of like you can do that or you can actually do it. Like you can dance and hang out and have fun, but it's not like everything. The music is on top of you. People are all over you. Like
yeah, that's the thing with me and Dom. Like I think there's like a lot of parties, you know, it feels like people want to be in a party that's like just jam fucking packed. And we're like, I mean, sometimes that is cool, you know. I mean, for us, you know, if like we're making more money, then I mean, cool. But like, you know, we don't always have to have like a jam packed party. And with me and Dom, it's like we could play for two people. We've literally had two people on the dance floor before at like Mag Bar and was going hard as hell. Because two people were like losing it. And it was like, this is what it's for.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And then we do stuff like we could. Sometimes we like to turn up, like that's cool and all. We'll play Travis Scott, Kanye, this, that, and the third, and then we'll switch and play some house music right off of that.
Exactly.
And we love that people feel like they can just, you know, get everything from us, and they also feel like they don't, like you said, don't have to feel like they're in the middle of a mosh pit when we're doing stuff like at the Merriweather. Like you can come with your homies, have a drink, relax, but also still be like, all right, I'm gonna get sweaty tonight. Like, and that's the whole goal of it. So yeah, appreciate that, man.
So, go into ABX, like how that started and what you guys have grown into now.
So, ABX started, I want to say it might have been 2020, late 2020 or 2021. Me and Dom just decided to do a DJ tandem. Like, we've known each other for, since like 2007.
Damn.
So me, him, and Francis.
And you're how old? Just
I'm 33.
Okay.
I'm 33, going on 34 this year. I'm 4 years older than Dom and Francis Tomasovich.
I was gonna do the thing I did to Dom. Sorry, I was about to do
the Kevin Hart. Well, that's hilarious, man. But like I'm 4 years older than them, so I knew them from Manual High School. I was a senior when they were freshmen, so like we've been around each other forever. I graduated high school with Francis' older brother. I was in like one of the first, like, not their rap group, but we did a rap show together like ages ago in my former life as a rapper for like a summer, which, you know,
if you didn't,
everybody has.
You didn't have a rapper summer where you was in somebody's basement.
Like, I feel like that's like just a black male, like, like
coming of age.
Type
you gotta
it's like the bar mitzvah for a black male. Like, you have to have.
You gotta have a song on SoundCloud.
You got to.
Everybody thinks they're gonna be a rapper for a minute, and like until like everybody starts growing taller, then it's like
hooper.
I'm gonna be a hooper. Like I love the game.
But it transitions. It's once the hoop dreams die when you like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna make it. You're like, but I can still be I can be 5'5".
I can still rap though. You know, you're like I can do one or the other. And then like both of them going, it's like, all right, well shit, man, you know.
And then
maybe school works out. Maybe school or a job might work out for me. But you know, I was like on one rap show with them, man. So we've always been around each other. Then we would start we all kind of like started DJing live around the same time. I did mixes online since like 2014.
Okay.
We started doing it live around 2018, and me and Dom always had the same kind of music taste and stuff. So 2020 or 21, we were like, dude, let's get a tandem or whatever, do a DJ tandem. And we were trying to come up with names, and I was listening to Outkast one morning when I was going to Kentucky State for my little sister's graduation. I was about to say congratulations, but for her graduation, and their song Aquemini.
Okay.
At the end, Andre 3000. I can't remember the full line, but he said Outkast, Aquemini, another black experience, and I was like, that's fire, bro. I was like, that's a fire name. And I told Dom about it, and then he was like, yo, let's take the E off. That way, it could be like ABX. Because ABE would be kind of...
Abe.
It would be kind of trash, bro. It might be anti-black, man. To be
Right.
But it was like ABX. That sounds like amazing. So then we just ran with it after that. I think we did a Juneteenth party that was a flop that year, but we just kept pushing it after that. And like we found our lane, and that's how it became a thing, man. But it was just literally off like genuine connection. I mean, that's like my little brother. So, and he was killing it as a DJ. I was doing my thing. We were just like, let's do this one thing together.
How do y'all find? I feel like it's like Shaq and Kobe. Like, how do you find? Okay, I'm gonna do this part of the set. You're gonna do that part. Do y'all like divvy it up equally or what?
Yeah. So most nights, either one of us, like, we'll start off 30 minutes, next one goes 30 minutes, and we'll just, like, play like that. Then we'll be like, all right, man, let's just start going back and forth.
Okay.
And honestly, man, we just learn off of each other for real, because there's a lot of stuff that I play that Dom will be like, man, I need to get more into that bag, because I do really well with, like, 70s disco and funk and old school tracks and stuff like that. And, he does really well with a lot of newer house tracks and a lot of newer rap tracks, too, that he mixes in well with that stuff. And I'm like, damn, I need to get, to that bag, so, like, we'll just play off of each other and then learn from each other, man. And then it just kind of goes like, I'm glad you said Shaq and Kobe, man.
Yeah.
Because literally last night I was thinking like, damn, bro, we're like Shaq and Kobe, Jordan Pippen out here when we're playing, man.
So who's who?
Hey, man, these are all Hall of Famers, man. Shaq and Kobe, I mean, those are two of the greatest, ever. So
That's true.
Hey, man, I'm not gonna say who's who. Now, if this was a like Destiny's Child situation, then it'd be like, all right, now we're gonna have to fight over who's Beyonce,
right?
And but for Shaq and Kobe, man, we can. I think Dom would like to be Kobe, man. I'm more of a Jordan dude, so he can take the Kobe one. I'll take the Shaq one.
All right, awesome. Do y'all ever be like, I want to play this song, but then you wanted to play this song? Like, y'all ever have a confliction like that?
Okay. All the time, man. It just happens like whoever gets to it first, honestly.
Okay.
It's like whoever gets to it first, because we never really say like, oh, I got this track that I'm about to play. We'll just be playing, and I'll see them load something up, and I'll be like, damn, bro. Like, fuck, man, I want to play that one, because you know what songs will like get a certain reaction.
Right, right.
And then, if he plays it, I'm just like, all right, man, you got it, it's whatever. But then I'll just have to come with something hard off of that or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, that happens all the time, man. Like every time I see him like upload something, he'll see me put something into my deck, and he'll be like, "Bro, I got that in mind." I'm like, well, I beat you to it,
Right.
But yeah, that happens all the time, man. But thankfully, we've never like played the same song in the same night or whatever. We usually pay attention to each other's sets and stuff. So like we've been good on that.
Okay.
That would be the worst. You'd be like, he just played that. You're like, damn,
I've been to parties where DJs have done that. There was a party I did not too long ago where like every DJ after me, it was like 4 DJs, including me. Each of the next 3 DJs play like one of the same songs. It was like Keisha Cole, When I See You, and I'm just like, damn, y'all wasn't paying attention to each other's sets, man. But they was just out mingling while I'm just sitting around listening to everybody said. They were out, mingling, just doing their thing. But I was like, I like to listen to people just to, see how they do and like see what I need to work on. But yeah, all 3 of them played. It was like the first time the crowd went up. Second time there was more people in the party. They went up. Third time they was like, all right,
all right now,
all right, we done seen y'all enough, bro. Like
this ain't the radio. Like you can play whatever you want.
Do you find yourself when you're out now, like, not necessarily? It's less of like you enjoying the environment of being out and like it's trying to perfect your craft and trying to work instead?
So do you mean when I'm playing or if I'm going out and seeing
if you play?
So
because I know a lot of DJs, and I know some of the we talk to, like, some like to turn up and drink, get fucked up, hang out.
Yeah.
Some people like to, like, I got my headphones on,
Right.
I'm seriously dedicating, I'm trying to figure out how to play off the crowd. Like, so what is your approach?
I'll say I'm more 50-50 on that one, because it depends on how big the party is, how many people are at the party. So something like the Merriweather, I'm always going to be focused in on when I'm playing and stuff, but I'm a little more lax at the Merriweather because it's more laid back and it's more chill.
Right.
You know, I'll have my drinks. Like, anytime I DJ, I usually have like a drink. At the Merriweather, I have my Modelo. If I'm somewhere else, I might have a glass of wine with me or something like that while I'm playing. But I don't try to turn up too much when I'm playing, and I don't like to get drunk or anything like that when I'm playing. But if it's a party with like a ton of people, I might just not like turn up and drink at all. Like, I might not even leave the DJ stand or stage. I'll calm down every now and then if I see somebody I haven't seen in a while, speak to them for a second, but then I'm right back up to the booth because I just like to stay focused and try to chill out. I have seen people like get like super turned. It's just like, I don't know, man. It is a job. Like, it's a fun job. It's a fun job for sure. But I try not to get like too crazy with it. Now, if it's like I said, if it's something more laid back, I'm like, all right, man. We can turn up like that. There's been a couple parties me and Dom and Francis have done in like backyards and stuff like that, like little pop-ups. That, all right, I'll turn up. You know. But when it's like an actual venue, I try to keep it chill. I'll get a little buzz, and then just enough to get me like happy or whatever, I guess. But
That's interesting, because I mean, I've seen plenty of times, and granted, like, I don't know the level of DJs. I think for some of the ones that we saw, maybe at like Baxter's, like where it's a guy who's just click and play, and
they on Spotify, and you like,
they on some other shit. Like,
can I plug my stuff in?
Pass the ox, bro.
For them, whenever I'd watch them, it felt like the more people it was, the crazier they were getting. Like, and it was like the less they cared about the set, and more of like, I'm just everything I'm playing is going crazy. Like, I'm getting like just enjoying the moment, maybe a little too much.
Yeah, that comes with being a DJ is a vain profession and thing, and there's a lot of DJs who like to be seen more than anything. I'm not going to necessarily say like, oh, cloud chasers or anything, but a lot of DJs like to be seen and like to be like, yeah, I'm killing it right now. Y'all see me killing it behind the board. I've never been like that, so I don't really care to like, when I see people in there going crazy, I'm just like, all right, well, I need to keep this shit going. If I see the party's going in and it's a ton of people, I'm like, I'm locked in. I don't need no drinks. I don't need nothing. I need to keep the momentum going instead of being like, man, I did this shit. Brick by brick. So I like to get more focused in, but there are like DJs that, once they get that, they're like, the head goes out the roof. You know, they go crazy and they're like, well, fuck this. I'm the man. And I don't know, like, I kind of get it, but then, like I said, I'm also just naturally more humble where it doesn't really affect me to see that or whatever. But it's a very vain profession, man, because you're up there playing what you want to play. You're like, it's my music, you're gonna listen to this shit, you're gonna dance to this stuff or whatever. And that's where some DJs
lose it.
That's where some of them lose it. I think that's where me and Dom do well, where we're like, we're gonna put our particular taste into the music, but we're also gonna be like, all right, let me throw some old school Michael Jackson in here, something that everybody knows. That way we can keep y'all like with us if I go too far left, and y'all like, man, what the fuck is he playing, bro? And it's like, all right, let me throw that Pretty Young Thing in there. You're like, all right, bad, he's back on track.
Did you ever just like, have y'all ever done like where it's the like how DJing first was, like, what? Because I see now it's all, you have the little digital, and you have your little spin. I don't even know all the parts and stuff. But have you ever thought or had an event where you guys like, we're gonna pull the vinyls out and really scratch?
I did that the Sound Museum event that had at the end of May, I believe, over at Les Affair.
You did it after I left?
No, you was there, but you know what? You weren't. I don't think you got there when I was playing.
Okay.
And the other two DJs did not bring any vinyls to play.
Okay.
And that was the whole idea of the Sound Museum event, was supposed to be like, play just open genre music, all kind of stuff that you might just listen to on a Sunday morning while you cleaning, just playing anything. I got Stevie Wonder, Lisa Stansfield, like all kind of crazy stuff. So all those vinyls that I had laid out on the rugs and stuff, I was going and pulling from those vinyls
Okay.
and playing them and stuff. So there's some photos of me like, Stevie Wonder records in my hands. So I actually was doing that then at that Sound Museum event.
Oh.
So
I
don't know if you had noticed that. So if you had looked, and maybe you look at some of the pictures, the layout was we had like 2 CDJs, a mixer, and the CDJs are the digital the digital equipment.
Okay.
And then had 2 actual turntables on each side too.
Wow.
So we had like a 4-channel setup or whatever, 2 turntables and then 2 digital. So I would go from like a record to a digital track, then back to a record. So I was doing crazy shit like playing Lisa Stanfield, being around the world, and then dropping some West Side Gun into that shit. So yeah, it was just, and that was the whole idea of the event. Just was be like, I'm just gonna play whatever, I'm gonna have some fun with like just all kind of music that you never hear, stuff that I wouldn't play at a party. So that's why I did it, and that's why I also did the vinyl then too, because I don't want to do vinyl at a party because I'll fuck that up. I don't want to do that like for people like live in a party like that, because they're gonna be like, bro, this doesn't sound good. Vinyl's hard as shit to play. But yeah, I did it there, man. Yeah, it was after you. I think you showed up after my set, a little after my set.
So I thought that was just for like the scenery. It's a museum. We see in the beginnings of where DJing was and where it went.
Yeah, man. I was actually playing from all those. So like, there's pictures of me like actually going to the records and grabbing them and all that. To, play
Does that ruin the vinyl? Once you do it, like how many times can you do it before the vinyl's just like done?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm sure it would take a lot.
Okay.
I wasn't scratching as much anything like that. So
okay.
If you're scratching and then playing them a ton, then I'm sure you're going to ruin your vinyls. I was more so, I was not really scratching, but trying to like get them linked up with the digital tracks and stuff. So I would have to like pause them, move them around and all that stuff. But I was trying to be very delicate because those are like the actual records that I have at home that I'm playing and that I actually care about. But I have no idea how long it would take, but I'm sure it would probably be a while before, because those records are really durable. I got records from like the 70s and 60s that are like first edition like records. And some of them are scratched up and very worn out, but they still sound good. So yeah, they're very durable.
I'm always fearful. Like sometimes I'm like, I just want to listen to this one song on the vinyl, and I'll be having to sit there like, get that.
Dude, that's how I am, man. And now that I have my son, like he likes grabbing my vinyls off of the display, and I'm just like,
no,
exactly.
Like chill. He like pulled off one of my I got like Jay-Z Dead President single.
Oh man.
And he like pulled it off the display and he like started messing with it. It was like coming out and I'm like, yo, hold on. It's like, hold on. Let me give you this record that I don't give a shit about.
Right. Let me take the classic away.
Give me that one back. Take this one. Go crazy with that one. Like, leave the Hove alone, bro.
Exactly.
So how has fatherhood changed your approach to your career now?
Man, I don't have any time to do anything. That's how it's changed it. Like now it's like I gotta just get shit done like that.
Yeah.
Before my wife Samira was pregnant, it was like, okay, I can spend some time doing stuff. I can spend some time sitting on my laptop designing. I can spend some time making mixes and going through music to make mixes. I can spend time, planning events and all that. Once she got pregnant, that wasn't really happening because I needed to be there for support for her.
Right.
And then once the baby came, it was like, damn, I can't do. And it was like just hard to like sit down. And now that he's mobile, he's close to walking. If I pull my laptop out, he knows what it is at this point. And he's just like, bro, I want to get on the laptop, man.
Right.
Like, and if I give it to him, he just starts smacking on the keys.
Oh my god.
I can't bring it out without him, wanting to get to it. So then by the time he goes to sleep at the end of the night, I'm like, I don't feel like doing anything. You know what I mean? So it's usually like if he takes a nap, I'm like, all right, man, we got like an hour to like get to it. So I've had to crank out designs like 30, 45 minutes at a time and just be like, there, it's out. And then music, like I'll just have times when I'm not with him to just like listen to my music, get it, be like, all right, I want to play this at whatever party. Then I'm playing it just at the party, like, for lack of a better term, raw. Like, I'm just like, all right, we're going to go with it here. Like, I don't really have no time to practice DJing at all. So I'm like, we're going to do it at the party, try it out. I'm decent enough as a DJ to, like, not screw it up. But a lot of times I'm like, man, we're just going to see how this goes. So, yeah, that's how it's changed. I have no time to do anything. But I mean, you know, I love it though. Fatherhood is amazing.
Take the trade off.
How was that like? So I asked one of our friends. He had a kid. He's 22 months, and so almost 2 years ago. So I was kind of asking him just like his thoughts and feelings about what it was like when he first like held his son and stuff like that. And I always wondered, like, I always wanted to see your kind of your perspective of like when you first saw your child or like first found out Samira. My bad. You know what I'm saying? But like when she was pregnant, like what was the feeling of that? Because like for him, he's our age, but he had his child. They were 24, 25. So it wasn't like a planned thing for them. So I don't know if maybe you guys had already like, oh, we want to have a kid, or if you're just kind of like, oh, if it happens, it happens kind of thing. So I just wanted to see like kind of the different perspectives if you had like what you felt.
Yeah, we were more so like if it happens, it happens. I've always thought like if I never had a kid, I wouldn't be upset about it. If I did have a kid, I would love it because I do love children. But it was never anything that we were like pressed about. I feel like a lot of people have this feeling that kids are supposed to fulfill your life or something. I'm like, I don't think it necessarily does it, but it does add, like, when we did have our son, I was like, man, I'm so glad we had this little boy. Like, it's the most amazing thing ever. And it was, you know, it was kind of planned. It was like, all right, this is a good time to go ahead and do it. We've been together for a long time, like 13 years dating, 7 years married this year.
All right. Well, congrats for that,
appreciate that. Yeah, and we bought our house like a couple years ago, so we were like, all right, now we have the crib. You know, we're cool. We're like being like, all right. We was in the crib for like a year and a half, and we're like, all right, man, you know, it's cool. We can do the baby thing.
We can fill this out a little bit.
Yeah, it was like we can do the baby thing. We always wanted to make sure we waited until we were ready because I mean, we like to do stuff. Like I'm doing my creative stuff. We like to go take trips and stuff. Like, and when you have a child, that takes a lot of money and a lot of time. It's not hard to just go, you know, out of town. Like back when we were just together, just it's gonna be like, all right, going to New York next week, or whatever week. Let's do it. And now it's like, nah, Saya said we ain't going nowhere. You know what I mean? But so like we waited, you know, till we were ready. But we did want to do it. And when I did hold him for the first time, first off, the birth experience was crazy. Like, I know that people have videos online showing you how it's nothing until you see that in person.
Oh my gosh.
You see the birth in person. I was just like, word. Like, you know, the nurse was like, do you need a chair? You think you're going to faint? I'm like, I'm not going to faint. I'm just sitting there like amazed. Like
this is really happening. Like, what?
Like, this is crazy, man. Like, those things can do that. I'm just like, word, all right. But when I first held him, I was just like, man, this is, wow. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's an unspeakable feeling. He was in a NICU for
the cat.
Hey, I know our cats are, man. So that is hilarious, man. But he was in the NICU for a couple of days, so it was like we got to experience him and hold him and feed him and stuff, but it just didn't feel the same. But when we finally took him home, which he was only in there for 5 days, it was something like super minimal. It wasn't anything crazy.
Gotcha.
But when we got him home, we got into the house with him. And we were like, "Oh shit, we really have a baby." Right?
We on our own now.
Like there's no refund. Like we can't take this back. We can't return him to the hospital or nothing like that.
Imagine if you could though.
Like, all right, I've had enough.
Like
I just wanted the pictures.
Actually, can we send this guy back? Like push him back up in there. But we were like, man, this is life now.
Yeah.
Like there's no. I told Samara, I was like, you know, there could be something that happens to us. You know, granted, I would never want anything to happen to us. Like, we get divorced. I was like, but we could get divorced and cut ties. We can't ever cut ties with our son. Like, that's over. I'm like, I was like, shit, this is really for life. But it was amazing, man. I was just like, even to this day, I'll still look at him. I'm just like, dude, you're really here. And you're like my son, and like, you're going to be here all the time. Like, you actually look at me, and you're like, you run to me when I come in the house because you like know me, and I'm just like, it's insane, dude. Like it's crazy. I love it, man.
Were you emotional when he was born?
You know what is it's funny because Samira's always like, you know, you didn't cry, and you said you would cry. You thought you would cry. I did think I would cry, but I told her, I was like, the birth was so like mind blowing. I was just sitting there like. You know, there was moments when it was happening that I felt like I was going to cry, but I also was just like, you know, I need to be here for her. Then I'm also just sitting here like, I'm also sitting there like, what the fuck? You know, it's like he's actually like just coming out of here, man, and like it's funny because our doctor that we would have our visits with and stuff, the day that he was born, we had a doctor's visit that morning because he hadn't been born yet, so it was just like we just keep going week to week. And the doctor, you know, did a little thing to help out with the birth, and she, you know, when she did what she did, she said, "Oh God, this baby has a lot of hair," and I was like, "Okay, all right, bet." When she was actually giving birth, the first thing I saw was like strands of hair just coming out, and I'm like, yo, and the nurses that were saying, you know, helping out, they kept talking about his hair, and like that was the first thing I ever saw. And when he came out, I was like, yo, this dude really has like length. I'm like, man, like length, like the hair, I'm like length check, bro, like golly, dude, like, and, you know, it was just like funny. You would see his head like coming out, and it was like a slow, like crazy process. And then when his head kind of finally came out, he just like plopped out, and I was just like, word, like that's simple, cool, but yeah, I didn't get emotional because I was just sitting there like, what the hell, man? And then when I finally had him, like he was finally in the NICU, and I got to like sit with him and stuff. I still didn't cry, but I was like seriously sitting there, just like I don't even want to leave right now because I'm just looking at him like, damn, that's really my son right there. It doesn't help that he's cute as hell too. Like he's the most adorable baby ever.
I feel like I would have an experience like that of just being amazed of the whole thing. It's like, hold on.
Yeah.
And I had a part in that, whole person.
Yeah,
half of that is me. Like,
Right.
dang.
Yeah, and it's just like when you see a woman do that, it's like, damn, you all are really built different.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, literally, built different, but it's just like, man, glad it wasn't me. Like,
We had a question earlier. I said, do you think, and thankfully your child isn't ugly, so I feel like you'll be able to answer this a little bit. Do you think you could acknowledge if your kid was actually like ugly, or do you think you would be like, do you think it'd be like, damn, this is my kid, like even if like I can't see, like this is my child,
Yeah.
like, and it's a very like stupid question.
you know what? No,
But we're not dads, so we don't know like.
This is seriously unserious, man.
Yes,
Exactly.
absolutely. Yeah.
Exactly.
Because everybody's thought their baby was cute, and I've always been like, bro, don't show me your kid because I'm bad at lying when it comes to that. So if you're like, look how cute they are, I'm gonna be like,
Said, fuck them kids.
I'm not gonna be like, oh, your baby's ugly, but I might just be like, yeah,
It's like,
I see it.
Yeah. You know,
What's over there?
He has your features.
Yeah, so tomorrow, what we got? So yeah, leave that little in your way. But, so it's funny, man. It's kind of like one of those things where I think me and Samira have talked about it. It was like, yo, if you thought I was ugly, would you really feel that way? Or would you think I'm not ugly just because we're together? And it is that way with babies, I think, too. I feel like, because, you know, there's ugly babies out here. It is what it is. Like,
Yes,
there's ugly people.
yes, there are. Yes,
I mean, you know, and hey, those babies, a lot of ugly babies turn out to be beautiful people.
Absolutely.
I've seen it
Exactly.
happen.
Sure.
Exactly.
I definitely think there is something that will not cloud people, but, you know, when it's your child, you're just like, man, this is my child.
Rose-colored
I don't care.
glasses.
I love them so much. Like whatever. With me, fortunately, we have an adorable baby, so it's just like it doesn't matter.
Don't have to worry about
But I
it.
will say, when he first was born, I was like, "Yo, what the hell?" Like, because at first I didn't think about the fact, you know, when you're getting pushed out as a baby, like you come out swollen and like you know, eyes all puffy, and because you've just been pushed through a freaking like, you know, it's insane in there, and you know the heads are like cone shaped and everything. So I knew about the head being cone shaped, but when he popped out, he was just like really puffy and like just thick, and I'm like, damn. I'm like, yo, is our baby really about to look like this? I'm like, what the fuck, yo? Like, I thought he looked so much cuter in the ultrasound.
Right.
I'm like, what the hell, you know? But I was just like, it is what it is. And then the days that he was in the NICU, like, you know, the swelling was going down and everything.
Like,
so I was
okay.
like,
Thank God. You can.
yeah. It was like literally the next day, or like overnight, like the swelling went down. The next day, I was like, okay, we're good. We're good. He's totally fine. Like, yeah, but I think that if he was ugly, I would be able to acknowledge that we have a funny looking baby.
There you go. Funny looking. Yeah.
I would be able to acknowledge that we have a funny looking baby. I would still love him to death. But
Absolutely,
I wouldn't.
yes.
I wouldn't tell people that.
Right.
I feel
No.
But and I wouldn't tell his mother either. But
Right.
in my mind, I would be like, we're gonna hope for the best.
You're gonna have to be funny.
Yeah, we gonna hope for the best when you get older, man. Hopefully you'll have a glow up or whatever.
Yes.
But yeah, that's hilarious, man. Ugly babies are like a sensitive topic, man, because who would ever come to someone and be like, yeah, your baby ain't
it. Like,
your baby's not it.
And it's like I can't do anything about it. Like
Exactly.
I can't say nothing. But I wonder, just with you having a son, because I just got done recently reading The Will to Change by Bell Hooks.
Okay.
And so she just talks about how the patriarchy and how like it actually affects men in a way where it's actually negative. So I don't know for you with how like with growing up and how you were raised, like stuff that you see where like with your son, you're like, I want to make sure that he doesn't fall into this role that we kind of all like have been taught like how to be a man and stuff like that, and things where it's like, oh, knowing now I'm like, oh, that was actually very harmful for like our self-identity back then. If there's anything that you've kind of seen where like, I want to make sure that I'm going to change and teach him this.
Yeah. I definitely know that I had always wanted to make sure that he knows how to be open with his emotions and not, let things just like get riled up inside of him, build up inside of him and stuff. I definitely wanted to make sure that he's always going to be like respectful to everybody, and particularly women, and know how to treat women, and know how to not do them wrong, and be a stand-up guy. Like I've always wanted to make sure that I teach him like the right way of doing things, because like you said, I mean, we've all had growing up, it's like, oh, you're a man
Exactly.
up, you don't cry, you don't do this and that. And to this day, I really don't cry about much of anything, but it's not even because I'm just like hardened or anything like that. That's just how I am. But I want him to know, like, hey man, if you want to cry, if something's wrong, like you upset about something, you can say that. Like, it's not, this is not, back in the day where as soon as something happens, I'm like, man, that's gay, bro. That's gay. Man. What you doing, man? What you doing dancing to that music? That's gay. I'm going to be like, nah, man, you do whatever you want to do. Whatever you're into, like it. I'm going to support it. So, I definitely want to make sure that, like, he knows that I'm here for him for anything. I'm here to support him with anything. Right. He can always come to us and be, open with however he feels. It's going to be a while before he can do that stuff, but definitely don't want him to feel like, he has to have the stereotypical male role that, people will place on us that we finally kind of like it's not kind of some people are breaking free. We're kind of like half and half with men. We still got a lot of men that are just like, they're lost, but it's a cycle that just takes some time.
Do you? Because I asked our friend Kendall. I was like, do you ever think you're gonna make a point to like actually cry and like express emotion in front of them? Because I think too, what it is with us, when you have that father figure that's always been like, I've never seen my dad cry, or he's never hugged me really and stuff like that. So then you grow up and you're kind of like, oh, well, I'm gonna go ahead and mirror those characteristics.
Right.
And it's always one thing for someone to be like, it's okay to express yourself. It's okay to cry. But then you're like, but you don't ever do it. Yeah. So it's like, I understand you're saying it's okay. Yeah. But then you might get that, sometimes you get that mixed feeling of, but I never saw you do it. So now I kind of might feel weaker in a sense just because of that. Yeah. So I don't know if maybe, because I know like for me, if I like ever have a kid, I want to make sure I like really kind of be vulnerable in a way. Yeah. Because obviously, as a parent, we're still supposed to be like that pillar for them. Yeah. So I can't be like, oh, fix my problems. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to go to my kid, but I definitely want them to see, like, oh, my dad feels emotions. Like, he's sad and stuff
he's
like that.
He's not doing all right today. Yeah, I definitely want to be open with my emotions. Definitely going to be the one to tell him, I love him all the time. Give him hugs, give him this, that, and third all the time. I'm a very emotional person in that way. I'll tell my wife I love you 1,000,000 times a day. I'll give her a kiss on the head, whatever, just for no reason. Like with him, I'm just always all over him, like hugging on him, and he loves it. I think he's learning to like kiss right now, actually, which is hilarious. But definitely always going to be open and emotional with him in that way, because I do know a lot of people that will say, my dad never said you love me, or even to this day, like my grandfather, like it's funny, I'll be wanting to be like, yeah, I love you, but then I'm like, is he gonna say it back? Is he just gonna be like,
All right.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
all right,
I'll see you later, boy.
Yeah, and I'm just like, let me just leave it alone, man. It is what it is. He came from another time, so whatever.
Exactly.
But I definitely want to do that with Cy and be like, hey, man, if you feel something, you want to express something, go ahead and do that. And if I'm feeling down, I'm not gonna hide it from them,
Right.
either, because the children need to know that they can, especially black boys need to know that they can just be open, be emotional, because the world is tough, and they don't need to be letting that build up inside.
No, that's something definitely. I was just talking to them. I live with my girlfriend right now, and so I realize there's a lot of stuff that I have done in the past that's not really conducive to a healthy situation when I'm dealing with someone else other than just myself. Yeah. So like normally if I'm living alone, I could just be like you said, if I'm mad about something, hell, I think if I'm mad about something by myself, I probably still wouldn't really show it. But I could then still do my like, oh, I'm just being quiet. Yeah. Or like, I'm just really into myself right now because I'm feeling away. Yeah. But when you're with someone 100% of the time, it's like, you still have those moments where you feel away. Yeah. But you have to do it. You have to be able to show it so they don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and honestly, I still do it to this day. I mean, we've been together for forever, and there's still times where I like just kind of shut down. I'm like working on it. Yeah. It just takes a lot of time, but like once you acknowledge it, like that's the good thing. You're acknowledging like, man, I'm fucked up. Like I don't need to be.
That's where it starts. You just gotta be like, I'm fucked up right now.
And when there's times where I will do it, there's times when I won't do it. And, when she brings him, I'm like, I don't need to be doing it. So I'm still like working on it. It's a work in progress, but like I said, acknowledging it is the first part, man. But it's like just stuff that's been, we've been taught that for forever. So it's like it takes a while to like, break free of that stuff.
It's crazy.
I was gonna say about your when you're talking about your grandpa, just like the older generation, how they express love. Have y'all ever seen that Denzel movie where he's the actual dad and he like works as the
fences?
Yeah, and he built the fence. It shows like the mindset of like the older generation for men, because like you say, like you're like, is he gonna say I love you and do the thing? But to them it was like his son said something to him like, you don't love me, but he's like, I don't love you. He's like, do I not go to work? Do I not pay? You know what I'm saying? Right. To them, it's, oh, I'm providing and I'm doing this. And it's like, no. Yeah, I need to hear you say it, though, too. Like,
And the thing that always cracked me up with that, because I've seen that said a lot by people, and you see it portrayed in the movies and shows all the time, like, oh, I do this, that, and the third for you. It's like, that's not because you love it. It's because you have to.
Yeah.
You're a parent. Like, you have to do that stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
you just don't want to be a deadbeat.
Right. I didn't ask to be here. Like,
exactly.
You brought me here, so you need to, do that for me. So that's not necessarily, I never felt like that was a love thing, but that is how a lot of people from back then felt. Like, they're just like, hey, I do provide for my kids. Right. I don't need to be there for them emotionally, and that's where it fucked up a lot of generations, man. Because like you actually need to be there and open with your children.
Go into a little bit about what the race club is. What your participation is in that, and just kind of what it is in general.
So the Louisville Race Club is a run club, an inclusive run club around here. Okay. I'm one of the co-founders. We started in 2018, me, James Lindsay, Vane, and Nick Brent. And we just wanted to start a run club that was inclusive and let anybody and everybody join. You didn't have to run a 5-minute mile. Okay. You could run a 15-minute mile if you needed to, but we're going to be here doing it together. Right. You need that extra motivation. We'll be here for you because running by yourself is tough. I mean, I ran track all my life, so I'm used to it. But even now, when I run, I'm just like, man, I don't feel like doing this, bro. But like when I have other people with me, it's like that's the extra motivation. Right. And we felt like we needed something that was in like this Louisville street culture that was more than just partying and doing partying and doing clothes and things like that. We were like, we do all this cool stuff, but it's like, man, we need to focus on like living a healthy lifestyle. As well, so that's why we were like, all right, let's just go ahead and do the run club, and it was cool, man. We've done a lot in the past 5 years. Partnership with Lululemon that we had. We used to meet up at Gravely Brewing. We've met a lot of people. A lot of people have met from the race club and have become like great friends and stuff. I see it all the time where like people will just kind of like mingle there next thing you know, I'm seeing them on Instagram out getting drinks and stuff
Right.
like that. If you all know Bikes, Cruise, and Brews,
Yeah.
the bike club,
Mm-hmm.
the twins, Tashad and Rashad, I actually went to school with
Oh.
them at Eastern
I
Kentucky.
worked with
Yeah.
Tashad.
Yeah, I actually went to Eastern Kentucky University with them, so I knew them from back then. They would come to the Run Club, and we just would link, and then they did Bikes, Cruise, and Brews, and they've mentioned this. They've said like we were kind of like inspiration
Right.
for that.
Right.
It kind of like helped with the idea of the Bikes, Cruise, and Brews. I'm like, that's dope, man, because I love that y'all are doing that, and it's also very sick because both factions are led by black men, which is
Awesome.
something that we don't really get in
Yeah.
Louisville. Black guys leading a bike club,
Right.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and the biggest bike crew in the city. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I would believe. Like, they've created something that's insane, and it's like way past the numbers that we get because honestly, people will ride a bike before they'll run. It is what
It's
it
a lot
is.
easier
Like,
on the body.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's very easy to like ride a bike, which I get it. So it's like, oh, but like it's really dope to see that like they're leading the bikes, and we got the run crew, and each one of them has been like black men, young
Right.
black men doing
Right.
that, and you really don't get that at least in like a Louisville, Kentucky. Maybe
Right.
you get that in L.A., Atlanta, New York, or something like that, Chicago, but you don't get that here. And we want to be just also be a positive image for people that look like us, like people who are into music, they're into fashion, they're into creative stuff. But it's like, all right, we're gonna also like make sure that we're trying to maintain ourselves and keep up a decent lifestyle. So it's been great, man. We've met a lot of people, have impacted a lot of people. We need to get more consistent. Like we've gotten older, like we have kids and
Right.
families and this and the third, so it's kind of been hard to like be consistent with it. But man, it's been great, dude. I love it, and everybody that's come to it has loved it.
How's that transition been? When did you stop running track?
So stop running, and don't you say damn about this, man. You was going to do that earlier. So
You don't have to say the year. I mean, you can say what year you
Oh
stopped.
no, I'm fine saying that. I mean,
Oh.
I ran all through college.
Okay.
Okay.
So I ran track and played football in high school. I went to Eastern Kentucky for football and also ran track there. Stopped playing football after a couple years because it just wasn't fun in college. And I ran track throughout all 4 years. Think my last season was the spring of 2012 because I graduated the fall of 2012.
Okay.
So that's when I stopped running track. And then years after that, I wasn't going to the Olympics. I wasn't slow, but
Yeah,
like I
track's-
also, it's funny because I always tell people, everybody's like, oh man, you were so fast. And I was fast. But I'm like, I'm fast to regular
Commoners.
people.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? And when I'm on the track, like I'm still fast
Right.
and I'm still competitive. But, I'm thinking, when I think fast, I'm thinking Usain Bolt.
Yeah,
I'm like,
these newer.
that's ridiculous.
Right.
You know what I mean? People be like, man, you could have made it to... Nah, I couldn't have made it to the Olympics. I'm sorry. I mean, now, granted, if I, maybe went to a better school, had like a better training, things like that, maybe, I could have worked towards getting towards something like that. I don't know. But I'm like, I'm thinking about people who are way faster than me. I know I'm fast too. A lot of people, I'm like, with track, people don't realize when it comes to the sprints, it's down to like milliseconds.
Yeah,
and,
milliseconds. Yeah, it's
Point
not-
0.0100.
Right,
yeah,
right.
dude. So like there would be times where there's a certain race someone loses by like a second or something. People are like, oh man, that was close. Like it's
No,
not.
no, that's not
Yeah,
true.
no, I was like, you've never seen a sprint when someone pops up 2 seconds after. Nah, you can tell.
Right.
That shit was like super duper far apart or whatever. But yeah, I stopped in that spring or whatever, graduated, and then like after. I'm not going to the Olympics. I'm not going to like run in amateur, meets and stuff. Cause like I did love track, but I also like, I'm not wasting my time just running in local, meets or,
Training
like
for-
just,
Yeah,
just,
I ran track too, so I was always wondering just with that transition. Like
yeah,
when
it was
I came
like,
out, it was
yeah, it
weird.
was just like, I'm okay. Like I love the sport, love it to death. I would watch track meets all day, but I was like, all right, I'm good without it or whatever. So,
Right.
I just wasn't really running or doing anything for a couple years. And then I think 2015 or 16, I was like, man, I need to just like get back active. So then
Right.
I just started running miles or whatever. Because
Okay.
before then, I just sprinted my whole life. So I was like, man, I'm not running more than like 2 miles. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
for what? But then I was like, man, I need to do something. I'm not about to
Yeah.
just be out here sprinting around the neighborhood. Like, so
It looks weird. It's okay at track. Like I just remember like,
Right.
when we were in track and coach would be like, all right, time to go do 300s and stuff. I'm like, 300 meters, bro. Fuck.
Yeah.
Or
And man,
600s, like, this shit sucks.
Dude, yeah, I ran like the 100 through the 400. So like I was running 600s in practice, sometimes 800s and stuff like that.
Yes.
That was when I was like, fuck, 800s, man? Like that was insane. And when I was in college, like we'd warm up. Our warm up would be like a lap around the track, or maybe 2 laps. We're like, all right, that's the warm up. Then we get into it or whatever. So everything in college was more focused on our actual events. In high school, it was like we were loading up on like all kind of crap. But high school coaches, they're handling like a million kids.
They got the whole.
You run every event.
Yeah.
You were a 4-event person too.
I did 1, 2, and 4. And then all the relays and stuff.
Yeah. I had to do. So I would do 110 hurdles, the 300 hurdles, and then I would do like the 4x1, 4x2, and then always have that beast of the 400, 4x4 at the end. I always be
That was the longest day when I went to go watch him for regionals.
like
they did the hurdles like at the beginning of the day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but then I'm like, bro. His mom's like, no, we're still here till tonight.
Man,
I'm like, what?
That stuff is so tough, bro. I remember my last conference championship when I was at AKU, the OVC championships. I was entered into the 400, 100, 200, 4x1 in the 4x4. Finals day, I ran every single one of the races, dude. The 100 came right after the 400. So I come PR in my 400, like 48 flat or something like that, and have to run the 100 after that. I didn't even try. I was like, I'm dead, dude.
Right.
I was like, I can't run this. So, and I had to run it because if I scratched, then I wouldn't have been able to run anything else the rest of the day.
Gotcha.
So I ran my worst 100 time I've ever run in my life. It was like may have been like an 11.5 or 11.6, something crazy like that, because
they're like, why is he here right now? Hold on.
I literally was like just kind of getting down the track, and everybody else that was on other teams that was running, they was like, bro, you really out here running on? I'm like, yeah, dog. Like it's insane, because you had other dudes that would like literally just run the 100 and that's it.
Yeah.
Or the one in the 4x1. Bro, I did the 4x1 before the 400, then did the 400, then did the 100, then the 200 in the meet with the 4x4. It was insane, dude.
Damn.
Insane, man. I mean, scored a lot of points for the team. I was just like,
At what cost?
At what cost?
like, God, leave, man.
It's always hard too, like getting back into running. Like for me, what ruined it for me at first was I used to be so like fixated on the time.
Yeah.
So like I ran track up until high school. After high school, I was getting recruited to a couple places, but my dumb ass went to the Army. So I left for the Army and stuff. So then we ain't sprinting in the Army.
Yeah.
It's, hey, we're going to go run 6 miles, 7 miles, or we'll run till we're done. Yeah. So I got really good at like distance and stuff and like doing 2 miles. And so then I was really like into it. Then I kind of stopped. And then just getting back into it, you're like, damn, I was running 2 miles in 12 minutes. Now it's taking me a 7:30 for 1 mile. I'm like, I don't even want to do this no more. It's just not fun.
Yeah. Because when you're taking longer, it's just like, man, this is taking too damn long.
Yeah,
I want to get this done with. Yeah, it's something that I've had to work on, like just not caring about the times either. And that's what we try to do with the Run Club, the Louisville Race Club. We always tell people, like, don't worry about the times. Like, we're not trying to bust ass out here. We're literally just doing like a community-based thing where we're running together to give each other motivation, because I think it scares a lot of people away, because they think, when we have a run club, they're thinking that we're going out there like,
you gotta come
to
prepared.
Like, and I tell them, I'm like, yo, the average between everybody is like 11 minutes or something, because like people are just kind of kicking it. Like, I'm like, we have people who get miles in like crazy, and they'll come to us and just this is like their cool down or their chill miles order. They're not trying to go crazy, because they just like to be able to run with people.
Awesome.
But yeah, we've had people come out there and walk. Like, I'm like, cool, if you want to do that, that's fine. Like, we'll be here at the end when you're done walking. We'll clap you in and everything. We have people come out with kids. People come out with the dogs and stuff like that. So yeah, but that is the thing, when you come from the competitive aspect of it, and you start running, you're just like, man, this is not hitting like it used to. Man.
Yeah, you're like, damn, I lost a step. Fuck.
Yeah, and I've had to come to that realization, because I'm like, man, I'm not 19 anymore. You know what I mean? I can't go eat 3 McDoubles and then just run a couple miles like it ain't nothing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like now, man, I eat 3 McDoubles, I'm done for a couple months. Man. Like,
I literally stay away from McDonald's. I'm like, bro, I can't even do it no more. That one thing with Big Daddy, where Adam Sandler's like, yeah, you eat a Big Mac, it goes away. If I eat a Big Mac, it sits in my ass for man. Yeah, I feel the same way. Like,
yeah, it literally hits different now.
I just had one final little closing thing. I do think that it is super dope that you did start the Run Club and other things that you're doing because, like you said, a lot of black kids do not know how many different things are out there besides just playing a sport or trying to be an artist. So I'm a firefighter, and before I even knew...
Thank you for your service.
Oh, yeah,
Thank
absolutely. You. Before I even knew what... Like, I had no idea what that life or career was even an option.
Yeah.
And one of my friends, he's been on, his dad was on for a while. He was like, hey, if you tired of doing this Kroger thing, stocking shelves every single day, like, try this out.
Yeah.
Turns out fucking awesome. Can't wait, now plan on doing it for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that's dope.
But I think that a lot of people there are a lot of options for black men and black women that we are not even aware of.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that that is super dope that you are shedding light on just besides all the stereotypes that a lot of people like to put us in. Yeah. Like, you can do a lot of other shit.
Yeah. I mean, it just takes one thing to get that interest peak. And I mean, I was like that way too. I mean, my whole life through college, like, it was like I'm playing sports. Like, that's what I was always known for. It's a funny thing I've told a couple people. All the way up until like college and after college, I literally was only known for like, oh man, he was fast, he was a great wide receiver, this, that, and third, like they just knew me for sports. Right. And it's like nowadays nobody knows I played sports. Like literally nobody knows what I used to do. Like nobody ever knows, and it's funny because Dom will always tell people like, man, this guy was a world class athlete, man. Y'all know. He always has a story where like when we were in high school or whatever. I think I was like in PE. It was like the end of the day or something like that. And I think I may have like dunked basketball just off for like one step or something like that. And he always tells that story to people. Like, man, this guy, he got his pictures up in the wall, manual, which there is like a newspaper thing or whatever. Like every time, I don't know if you all are familiar with the male manual high school football rivalry, but anytime Manual wins, they'll get like a plaque with the newspaper, sports article, So like my senior year, there was like, I was on the front page, that thing's in there or whatever.
Were you holding the barrel up? Is it the barrel y'all?
I wasn't holding the barrel, but it was like a touchdown. I had like 3 touchdowns off like 4 catches that.
Oh, subtle flex,
Randy. Yeah, 3 for 180.
Straight cash. But yeah, so it actually was 185. Like, that's funny you say that, dude. Like, and it's just one of those things. Like, I'm not a back in my day type of dude. I don't care to ever talk about it because I'm just like, I'm very real with, because it's funny with a lot of athletes. I know I'm going like way off of like what you started with, but it's funny with a lot of athletes. I feel like they always like to just keep in the head that they're an athlete or that they were an athlete. So it's like even when they're like, man, I'm an athlete, as a form. They'll have like something in their bio and stuff. I'm like, bro, you played at like 16, like, like you're done. I've never been that way, so like now I just don't ever mention like sports back in the day. Cause I'm just like, it was cool, but it is what it is. I didn't go to the league. I'm like, I had my fun back then, like whatever. But if people bring it up, I'll talk about it and stuff. So it's like funny. No one ever knows that I used to play sports and stuff, but. After like I got done, actually when I was in college, so I would come back to like Louisville and go to like little parties and little events and stuff. And there was this like group called Saving Our Style that would do like art exhibits, and it was some young black guys too, and they're a little older than me. But they would do like art exhibits and things that I knew that I was into, like fashion stuff, and a lot of things with music, and a lot of like underground music stuff. And this is back when like. Like Currency and Wiz Khalifa, Dom Kennedy, these kind of guys were like coming up. Kendrick Lamar when he was like really like first coming up. All this stuff I was like, man, that's what I like, and it just kind of like piqued my interest to where I was like, man, I'm about to start getting more into this stuff. So then when I got out of school and like was here full on, I really was like always at shows, doing my own little things, and that's another thing people don't realize. I've been doing stuff. In like the scene here since like 2011, well, actually, me, Dom, and Francis rap show that I mentioned earlier, that was like 2010. I want to say.
Is there any videos of this rap show?
Yeah,
I want to see people's.
Francis might have some videos. I know I have a photo somewhere, man. I have a photo somewhere. It's funny, man. I can picture this photo in my mind. I had on a Yankee cap to the back. a red polo shirt. I thought it was so fresh. I had this red polo shirt and then this black beaded Jesus piece, that was just made out of whatever metal. Like it wasn't like it was,
What year was this?
This was like 2010.
That's the style back then.
Is that snapback and tattoos year?
It was because snapbacks and tattoos was like a couple years later. But but it was around that time where it was like Jet Life to the next life,
right.
West Side Get the Money, all this shit. But yeah, man, I've been doing like things around here for a long damn time, man. But back then is when my interest really got piqued or whatever, and I was like, yo, I love to do all this stuff, and I love music, so I was like, yeah, let's do DJing or whatever. Avenue, I love photography and I love the local scene. I started a magazine off that,
right?
And then, I made a couple shirts. People love the shirts. I was like, I like making shirts. So I started making hoodies and all that. And I just like to do it just to let people know, like, you can do whatever you want to do, man. Like,
yeah.
Me and Don talk about all the time. It's like, man, we come from, like, the school of Virgil Abloh. And it's like, he did everything. Mm-hmm. Like, he did everything in the world, man. I'm like, that's what I like to do. I want to, be able to be like, I don't care what it is. If I'm into it, I'm going to do it. It's going to be up under the Avenue umbrella or whatever. And I want to be able to do that for a while. Like, I don't want to have to stop. I didn't want to have to stop at 30 years old and be like, all right, well, I'm too old to be doing stuff.
I can't do nothing now.
Let me go ahead.
Louisville's really like that, where it's a young city to where people kind of flame out at 30. I don't want to say flame out like they're, washed or anything, but it just seems like parties get younger and younger, events and things around here get younger and younger. So once you get like to 30, it's like, man, there's really nothing for me, because Louisville's such a hometown, family-based place where it's like, you get married, you have kids, 30 years old, done, no more fun. Like, you're old. And I'm like, no, bro, like, I have my family time, but like, I'm still going to be out here. So, when I hit 40, which is not too long from now, I'm like, I'm still going to be doing stuff. Am I going to be turned up with the 21-year-olds when I'm at 40 years old? No. But if they come to my stuff, hey, cool.
You still got to have space. Yeah.
You're like, you like the classics now. All right.
But it's like, I still want to be able to do things. So, when I'm DJing, I can play some of that old school.
Right.
Or I can play some new, what I like to call, quote unquote, young nigga shit. I can still do that now. But, yeah, man, I just like to do the stuff to let, like, guys like me who never thought that they could do that be like, man, I can do some clothes. I can do some, I can do DJing or whatever. I can start whatever I want to start. Because, like you said, we didn't always have that example from people. Like, it was either, what Biggie say, like, have a wicked jump shot, or you sling a crack rock or whatever. Like, that's literally, like, people's reality. So I love that, like, people like me, people like you, like all of us here, and other people in the city are doing stuff where it's like, hey, yo, bro, there's more than just, just a typical go work a job, type of thing. And if you want to do that, that's cool too. But like, you have endless possibilities.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So about the Avenue, what is it exactly? Because I didn't know. I always knew you like made clothes. Mm-hmm. That's actually, it's kind of funny. Like speaking with you now, because I like had seen your stuff. Like Alex G had some of the stuff and stuff like that. So I was like, who's Avenue? Who's Coop? And then I was like, I'd never met you before. And then I was like, oh, this is the person that makes these clothes. Like, oh, that's neat. So like, the Avenue didn't start first, did it? Or how did that?
So it's just Avenue, and I know people say the Avenue because it's like posted on the app, and it's posted on the app because like Avenue.com was just too much for a domain. Like that price per year was insane. I was like, all right, we're gonna have to think of something else. It's kind of catchy. And then like Avenue Studios on every social media was just like done for. I couldn't find it or whatever. So that's why it's posted on the app. It's actually just Avenue or Avenue Studios, and so that's like the first thing I did that was like solely my thing. Like before then, I would do short films and montages and stuff, throw like little parties, events and stuff like that. But then when I did Avenue, that was like the first thing that was like, all right, this is me. This is what I'm going to do. It started out as a magazine, and it was to highlight local creatives, businesses, and people that I was just really interested in around here. So the first magazine came out the fall or winter of 2017. Had like Home Skate Shop on the cover, had a bunch of people in it. Home Skate Shop, an artist from here named Jeremy Booth, James Lindsay and the Grand Nationals band was in it. Had a couple other people in there too. then I had the release party at home skate shop. So that's how I just started. I just wanted to be able to showcase like what's going on in the city because I felt like there wasn't really anything for that to showcase people here. And I think I did like another edition of that magazine in 2018. But also in 2018 is when I started doing some T-shirts because shirts I had at the release party just for me and like people that were a part of it. Everybody was like, "Yo, I want that shirt." So then I started doing that. Then the shirts took off, and it's like I lost focus of doing the magazine.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it just started off with me wanting to like support the community around here, and that's why sometimes a lot of people don't realize that I'm the person who does Avenue because like I never wanted to be like the front man or anything.
Right.
I mean, it's inevitable that I am because like I'm the person promoting most of the stuff, and I'm the person like, hey, there's a new drop, there's this and that and the third.
Right.
But I never went to be like the, hey man,
Poster boy.
I'm the face.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I don't like to post myself on the page much or anything like that. So yeah, but it just started off of literally wanting to support the community around here, and that's why I've always that's what I've always been about. I think that's why people gravitated towards it too, because it was just like a thing for Louisville. I mean, granted, it's grown outside of Louisville. But it always has just like this feel of like, if you know, you see it, then you're like, hey, I connect with that. That's,
Exactly.
that
some
city
bigger
stuff.
people like with your shirts and hats and stuff on that I've seen, and I was like, oh, damn, it's like it's bigger than I thought. Like, because sometimes I always think like, these are local brands, and so I was like, oh, it's more. And then I'm like, I feel like it was some artist just recently like had, or somebody was on somewhere like Complex or something. I felt like that had one of your hats or a shirt on. I was like. Damn, like it's on a national stage. Like, did you ever feel like is that kind of like cool to see? Where you're like,
yeah, it's always cool to see. I've had a few people like reach out for stuff or whatever, and it's insane, man. I mean, every time that I see it, just anywhere, I've had people in LA send me a picture, be like, "Yo, I'm in downtown and just saw like some." I literally had a homie. His name's Matt. He has this dope brand called Mansfield Outpost in LA, and it was a couple years ago. He had texted me. He was just like in downtown LA, and sent me like a super zoomed in shot of someone like across the street, and they had an Avenue shirt on. I was like, "That's fucking crazy, man." Then one of my homies here, he's in New York. He's from New York. His name is Justin. He was like in the Nike store up in New York, and like sent me a picture. And was like, it was this dude with an Avenue shirt on, someone that I knew. But I'm just like, man, the world is crazy small. But
exactly,
people just gravitated toward it because I think they. You want to buy into a brand.
Right.
And that was my thing with Avenue. I didn't want to just have something that I was just like, I'm just selling you something just to sell it to you. Like, this is more than just being like, oh, we have clothes and shirts. Like, there's a whole idea behind it. So, like, when you're buying into Avenue, you're actually buying into, like, a brand that supports the community and is really about Louisville. And just about creatives in general. Like, I never wanted to just be, like, a local thing. That's why I never really make anything that says like Avenue Louisville. So it has the local feel, but it does not have to just be a local thing because there's an avenue everywhere.
Exactly.
That's the literal thing. There's like an avenue in every city, every country, or whatever. So everybody can identify with that. But it is very crazy, man. Whenever I see people with the stuff on.
Can I get a magazine? Do you have like one of the original ones? I'm trying to frame it. Because look, in 20, 30 years from now.
I'm trying to think. I don't know if I have any of the originals, but I could probably easily print some more up. I could definitely print some more up for you. I'll get you.
I'll bet. Can you sign it?
Yeah. I can sign it. Yeah. It's always funny when people ask me to sign something.
I'm like, it's one-on-one. Look, man, no one has this one.
Man, it's crazy. Like, people really cherish those magazines, too, because, like, when I did it, nobody around here was doing that. And it's crazy to see how far... Since I've been in like this local creative scene for so long, it's crazy to see how far it's come. Because I think the generation that's up under me, like younger than me, they're a lot more creative, or they want to be more creative than like my generation was, and they also have way more resources at hand now. But it's just insane to see because when I did that magazine, there really wasn't anything like that around here, and especially coming from like someone like me. And now you have so many things like that. I've seen a lot of magazines like people in Lexington, people here, there's a lot of zines. There's been that pay-per-view zine fest going on and stuff like that. There's a lot more clothing brands too. I remember years ago there was just like Native Louisville, and that was like the only brand that was really like kind of popping. And then K Alexander became a thing, and it was just like, all right, well that's just that's the new one. And then I started doing my stuff, so it was like, all right, you got K Alexander, you got Avenue, and that was just it. And now it's like you got so many. You got Legends Oaks, you got Love Always Prospers, you got Wild Things, even though it's from Lexington, but still you got them. Kentucky Boy Tyler, World Peace. Like you just got like a million people. First Shift, like you got so many people doing stuff. And First Shift actually has always he's always done stuff, but like the First Shift brand has been taking off like crazy recently, and so it's just like amazing to see like the growth and things. And I'm like, and some people come to me and be like, yo, you kind of like helped inspire like some of the stuff that I want to do or whatever, and I think that's really dope. Because that's what I was always in it for anyway. I just always wanted to be like, all right, let me do some stuff, support the community. They get inspired off of it. That's what I'm fine with. Like, I ain't got to be, on front stage. I just like, I like helping out the culture around here.
Awesome.
I feel like that's kind of like our mindset, just with the podcast itself, is how we've been. Because, like, we first started, like, every guy has the same thing. You're in an Xbox Live party together. You're laughing, joking. You're like, you should just make a podcast. Like, why not do it? And it was during COVID, so it was like, well, we're kind of bored. Why not? So then we were doing it, but then we were also like, I like talking to us, but it gets kind of boring after a while. So what else could we do? So we're like, oh yeah, let's like reach out to more like local artists and get like seeing. Because I think too, sometimes people complain. I know I definitely complained where I was like, there's shit going on local. Like I don't know what's going on, blah, blah. And then now like actually reaching out and seeing people, I'm like, oh, there's a lot more.
Way
like,
more
I really
going
wish
on.
people would know too. Like, there's a lot going on.
This is funny. I thought about this. I literally thought about that when you all were talking earlier. Y'all were like Sully's and Baxter's and this, that, and the third. And it was funny because like a lot of people that will always say there ain't nothing going on in Louisville, they would just be frequenting those places and didn't really know what else was going outside of that. And I would always tell people like, yo, you gotta come to the stuff that like if you see me posting it or see me reposting something, go to that thing. You're gonna love it, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, okay, this is what we got going on." Like I know people who have moved from here way before like things kind of got going with like the street culture here, and they would see my stuff and they'd be like, "Man, you got you make Louisville seem like it's popping." I'm like, Louisville's not like popping like like in Atlanta, but I'm like, we have a lot of good stuff going on here, man. I remember I DJ'd I DJ'd a party derby at 21C last year. And this girl after the party was like, yo, what are you all doing after, And I was like, oh, we might be going to, like, Wiggle Room. Or I was like, there was something going on in Wiggle Room the next day or something like that. And she was like, I've never heard of this place. I was like, oh, yeah, you got to go there. And she was like, I moved to Cincinnati, and, I just don't ever come here because everything's so lame. And, and I'm like, well, where do you go when you come here? She's like, yo, my friends, we usually like to go to, like,
Gershels.
How old was she? That's like, the college boy.
Yeah, she was like there, and then she was like Sully's and da-da-da. I was like, that's where you're wrong. I was like, go to here, here, and here. I like said like Merriweather, da-da-da. And she was like, all right, well, I have to do. I'm like, yeah, that's where you need to be. I'm like, when you go to those other places, you just get the same tired old type of thing. And I was like, we have a lot of great stuff going on here.
Yeah, they were fun, but we definitely hit a wall where it was like, all right, we did the exact same thing every night.
Yeah,
You'd either go to Sully's or Tin Roof, and you'd walk down to Gershels.
Yeah, and it's definitely, like you said, it's definitely fun for like a time or fun for that type of thing when you want it. Because, I've had, everybody had their days where they would go to those spots. And even when I like stopped going to those spots, if someone was like, oh, we're going to so-and-so for someone's birthday, all right, I'm going to pop in there for a second with you. I'm going to have fun. We're going to make it fun.
Right.
But it's like, you're not getting the same experience when you go to something else. So it's like, it's growing pains, I guess. Like, you get lit, go to these places, then, you go to something else and you're like, oh, this is where I actually want to be.
Well, we appreciate having you on.
Yeah, thank you for having me on for sure. It was fun.
If you want to promo anything at all, this is your time to do so. We'll have everything posted down below.
Okay. Follow Avenue Studios at Posted on the Ave, ABX at abx.mp3 on Instagram, Louisville Race Club on Instagram.
All right.
And I'm Coop Le Moderne on Instagram, Twitter, all that.
We'll make sure everybody follows, keeps up with your stories, because you post whenever you got another show coming up or anything.
Yeah.
Like you said, If he posts it, go.
Yo,
Taryn, what you got?
Time.
What do I say? Like, follow the YouTube, subscribe, comment, and I don't know. That's pretty much it for me.
Devin?
Yeah, be sure to follow the podcast pages, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Follow the TikTok, the Twitter, Instagram, obviously. Share, be a friend, tell a friend. Hit up Coop.
Appreciate it.
Get
Yes.
some vibes.
Absolutely. Appreciate everybody listening. Go Blue. Peace.
Yeah, facts.
Boo.
Seriously unserious with T Meek, D Board, D Jones, scanning on whatever we feet on. We just getting started to feast on. The table is set, the mics is checked, there's topics to speak on. Seriously unserious with T Meek, D Board, D Jones, standing on whatever we feet on. We just getting started to feast on. The table is set, the mics is checked, there's topics to speak on.